Well, we had a very special episode today. We're gonna answer a couple of your questions that we've received.
Well, our producer, the evil producer, the big bad evil producer, has handpicked some of the questions that we have gotten, and there they are.
There they are. There is him.
Actually, these are the nice ones, because I got some down here that were printed upside down, but I won't show them to you. Yeah, he's walking away in shame. Boo.
He's evil, but he's the producer, so we'll do what he says.
All right. Before we forget,
I'm Eddie.
I'm Eugene, and we are Middle-Aged Barbarians. Okay. I think that's enough.
Okay, so first question. First question.
Wait. All right. Go.
Do we need to buy anything to play?
I mean, you can probably buy as much as you want or nothing at all. We talked about this in one of the first episodes that we did.
Yeah, I think you can make everything as... Starting up is a little bit difficult doing it without the purchased goods. There are a couple of box sets that are very useful to starting out, but yeah, you can actually play without anything. There are a lot of public domain documents that you can use.
Yeah, because I mean, if you can find a legal way, I have to insist on saying, of downloading material with open source content, open source resource.
Yeah,
I figure out what it is, OSR maybe, and then you just download the basic stuff. And there's a lot of like character sheets online you can download for free. You're gonna have to buy the paper unless you can like take paper from your mom and dad or something, and
or your work, and that's allowed, which I doubt it is, or school.
School. I remember back when we were in college, we would have an allowance for printing at the computer station or computer lab, whatever you want to call it, at the university, and we used to like just, all right, you're in it. Okay. We have all these books that we have legally acquired, and we're going to print them out. And we used to print them out at the university
at the end of the semester, because each semester it resets. So, and some of the friends also gave us their allowance, which is pretty cool of them.
So, like, to be more precise, you can play for free, I guess. I mean, if you have a phone, you can download a dice app. You don't have to buy dice.
Yes, for miniatures, you can use coins, chips, anything to represent your character moving on the space. Rather than buying this elaborate sort of scenario, you can just use grid paper that you drew yourself.
I mean, obviously, if you can get beautiful little miniatures, go ahead and get them. It helps.
It helps, yeah. But you can use some other stuff. Legos, for instance.
Yeah, Legos is cool.
Playmobil. Use them as your characters. Yeah,
do Playmobil even exist anymore? I'm starting to feel a little bit old.
Yeah, I still collect Playmobil. But yeah, I am old. But yeah, I do. Okay, another question. Do we have to establish an agreement about snacks, food, etc.?
Please.
Yeah, you should. The thing is, it's important to reach an accord. In general, it's considered good form for the players to treat the DM. That's kind of...
wink, wink.
Wink, wink. Now, in general, that's usually what happens. Like the pizza, the DM pays a smaller share, or not. I mean, depends on your...
It's in compensation for all the time and effort that the DM puts into preparing the session. One important thing, I think, is to figure out whoever's hosting, because it's not always the DM that's hosting the game. It could be at somebody else's house. So then if they have a certain rule of, we can eat, but we're not going to eat at the gaming table because, I don't know, I don't want you to touch any of my things with your nasty Cheeto fingers, then we'll set up maybe like some pre-game time. We can eat, or we'll take a break. We'll all get up. We'll stretch out a little bit. We'll go get something to drink, have some chips, and those kind of agreements, I think, are important.
Important to set them up. But at the end of the day, the DM perhaps is not the biggest authority in the matter, but their voice matters, and it's important so everybody have an agreement that.
I don't remember a gaming session where we didn't have some kind of snack or food or something there.
But yeah, like you mentioned Cheetos. Yeah, I've had places where the Cheetos are forbidden. You can have, for instance, for snacks, pretzels, which are not as dirty, so to speak.
They're a cleaner snack, I guess.
Yeah, they're good for that, from that sense. And yeah, nothing like clam chowder or some very smelly food. Don't have that. I mean, depends on the agreements you reach. But yeah, it's important to have an agreement in general. It's about communication. The game is about communication. All right, next thing.
What else they got for us?
What else we have? What is your most or least favorite part about playing role-playing games? It's kind of a double question as well.
What is my most and or least favorite part about playing RPGs? You want to go first?
Sure. What I like the most is the changing of my own existence. It's kind of a philosophical trip on my journey. Either being the DM, yeah, you can see what kind of person I am, I guess, in that sense. Either being the DM or being a player, at the end of the day, it's a kind of a respite from the daily toil. What I dislike is, oh my God, when people are not committed and this get really frustrating because you cannot start because not enough people, you don't have enough quorum, and or you have to improvise something different. I mean, I usually don't care if I set up a time and only one player comes. I will do a session with just one player. I don't mind, but that's me. Everybody has different styles. What you did?
So I'm kind of trying to think about this from both sides of the DM screen. I think as a DM, what I like the most, and this may be kind of not really cool to say, but maybe not even running the game. I think all the stuff that comes before running the game, all the time you take to think and just get lost in the fantasy part and ideating how all these kingdoms are going to work together or what the plot, and then that's kind of as a DM what I like the most is all the prep work, all the pre-stuff. As a player, I think just getting together with your friends, man. And as you get older, I mean, maybe some of you think about this differently or have different experiences, let us know. It gets harder and harder to kind of make those spaces to hang out with friends because of work, family, real life. And I don't want to keep bumming people out talking about it, but those 4 hours every week or every couple of weeks that you can just set aside and meet up with your pals and hang out and just shoot the shit, it's great, man. It's probably what I like the most is that social aspect of the game.
Yeah, and speaking about the weird philosophical thing I just said, getting together with your mates in this world, in this fantasy world, you get to know them in a very different light than what they usually do, for instance, at a party or at family meetings, because, yeah, they take out sides of them that you don't know. I mean...
You can be surprised.
Yeah, you can be really surprised about what they have behind them. And bad things that happened?
I think, I kind of agree a lot with you. The people who don't take the commitment or the compromise or the promise of getting together and taking that time out. Because, I mean, if I'm telling my wife, hey, I'm leaving, I'm putting stuff aside, I'm hustling to get stuff ready, and then, for example, one of the previous campaigns I started as a player, we were 6 players, which 7 players plus the DM, which it's a crazy amount of people. And obviously we weren't all going to get together at the same time, but it just got to a point where we were playing once a month. And we lost one session and we had scheduled for the following fortnight, a couple weeks later. And I understand, like we mentioned before, real life, it takes precedent, it gets in the way, but dude, you had 2 weeks to get a babysitter. Come on. So that's a big pet peeve for me is people who don't have the same level of commitment.
Yeah, and it's not just, obviously stuff happens, but yeah, it's organizing yourself. Even somebody as messy as myself can get organized. So, yeah, there's no, I mean, stuff happens, but as a general rule, there are no excuses. So another question, what's been your, well, it says best worst, but let's make it more interesting moment, either on the bad, on the goods, or the good side during a campaign? What's happened to you that's like
Oh, like an experience as a player?
as a player or a DM? I mean, yeah,
First thing that comes to mind, and you were actually DMing the game. Well, it's the first time I ever instigated a party kill with the kid.
the child, yeah.
Not a real child, that's just a nickname. Yeah, I think that has been because it was just like an accumulation of tensions and story-bound conflict between all the different players, and it just got to a point where it was like, no, that's it. And I think it wasn't just me; it was a couple of us.
Yeah, they got together against another player who was...
And he purposefully tried to become the villain.
Yeah, he became the villain, actually. At the end of the game, at the end of the campaign, he was the big bad of the campaign.
Yeah.
Which was interesting in its own right. I mean...
So that's something that 20 some odd years, I'd rather not be specific, stuck with me. So.
That was pretty fun. Yeah, total party kills are rather memorable. The other time, another campaign was on Ravenloft, which is a horror themed campaign. We played. I mean, I made this very lovely constructed, Eugene-like constructed character that I really liked, and basically the DM didn't make quite clear the risks we were going to, and he total party killed us with a bunch of dire werewolves. And yeah, we got all very, very mad, and we rather ended up just, we'll make like twins of the same characters and start over again. Okay. And it became fun, but yeah, that total party kill was, no, you were supposed to climb a tree. Why? No, that's the way you were going to survive. But why, dude? It doesn't make sense what you're saying. I mean, I can run super fast. I was supposed to be... A lot of stuff came into play. Yeah, this friend of ours, he has a little bit of problems with the rules, but it's cool. It's cool. But yeah, that was pretty amusing. Yeah, total party kills are rather memorable.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in a good place, it's fun. Oh, this is very, very much for you. Can I bring one of my great characters that I made in 4th to my 5th edition game?
Really? Really, dude? That's the question. Okay. No, you cannot. You cannot bring in a 4th edition character in a 5th edition because 4th edition is just that cool. It's just too cool. You can't do it. If you bring in your 4th edition character to 5th edition, all these guys are going to look like loser punks, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it because the 4th edition guy is like a god. Is that the answer you want?
No.
Yeah, but seriously, you have to make mechanical adaptations to it.
Yeah.
As written, it does not work because...
Yeah, the balancing mechanics from 1 edition, even from like 3rd to 4th or to 5th, if you want to go back to AD&D, it's all different. You can't just I want to cookie cut this and bring it exactly as it is. You have to rework it. You have to go from like level 0 and just bring it all the way back up. And there are options. I mean, I think if I'm looking over, that's because we're the producers and we've already talked about this before. And he was mentioning somebody who wanted to bring like a war mage or some kind of like a magical caster that was specific to 4th edition into 5th edition where it doesn't exist. So I think we were talking like, you have a couple of options. You can either make, a fighter that takes like the Eldritch magic path, or I forget exactly what the name is, or you had mentioned a mage that takes the spell sword.
Something like that, yeah.
And you got to find an equivalent. I mean, if it's a vanilla class or it's something more standard, even then you're gonna have to change stuff because 4th edition didn't have to deal with subclasses and all that crazy stuff.
And also remember, treasure is also a problem because treasure you got more magical items, a different balance of goods between editions. But speaking as in a storytelling version, you can it's the basic. For instance, let's say it's the orphan mage that has this and this characteristic.
Oh, every edition has orphans.
Yeah, you can do that, but mechanically, you cannot just cookie cutter it. You have to rework it. Oh, that's pretty interesting. Speaking of subclasses, can I switch my character's subclass in the middle of the campaign?
Why?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Why? Why, you will producer? Why? No, just mess.
Why would you want to? Is it a question of you're getting bored with it?
It's probably more a bit of FOMO, like, oh, it's not as cool as I thought, or something like that, maybe.
Maybe. I remember before, I'm not familiar in 5th edition, if you can do that. There was an option before for retraining.
It was in 3rd edition, you had that option.
But I think that was just like a feat, or maybe... I know now you can switch a spell per level. You can relearn or forget a spell and learn a new one. But they go so far as to change a subclass. I mean, maybe, yeah.
Maybe. It depends on the agreements you come with your DM at the end of the day. I would probably say as a DM, because I like to make my players happy, I'm not a evil
So
DM.
sweet. So sweet.
I would probably go something like, yeah, when you level up, we can start your retraining process. But just like on the fly, I would say no, just for changing it doesn't really make sense.
It'd be good to like work in part of the storyline and the why he would be changing, if it's possible. Mm-hmm. I mean, like change a complete class or something? No.
No, but subclass?
Yeah, sure. Once. Once. That's it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And to finish up, this is a very interesting question, which is something that we've talked about, like philosophically speaking.
I'm afraid to hear what this is.
Okay. This requires a little bit of backstory because it's not as simple as a question. I'll just say the question and I'll explain a little bit what the question is actually asking. This is called the Pigeon Dilemma. According to rules, the character is allowed to have an adventure besides being an adventurer. What would happen if I decided to join the lucrative business of messenger pigeons using my class powers to do something with the market? What does this mean? How much does a regular pigeon cost in the rules?
A gold piece, maybe 2.
How much is a messenger pigeon cost?
I don't know. How much is it? 100?
Yeah.
He's saying, yeah,
100. So let's say you're something like, I don't know, a druid who has like bonuses to training animals. You could, mechanically speaking, maybe change your regular 1 silver, 1 gold pigeon into this very nice and expensive 100 gold piece worth messenger pigeon.
Wait. All right. Can you have a job and be an adventurer? Yes.
Yes.
Can you do this? I mean...
It reminds me of previous rules. This was very common with spellcasters. That spellcasters could conjure, for instance, a wall of metal, which actually exists, stays like that, and they can turn the metal into goods. So, like, I don't know, I call it into being a wall of steel, and I make it into swords, and I sell the swords. So, yeah.
All right, wait. Pigeons.
Pigeons, or general, this sort of abuse.
No.
Pigeons.
No. Pigeons. This guy wants to talk about pigeons. We'll talk about pigeons.
Let's talk about pigeons.
Who is buying all these pigeons?
I don't know. They're on the market. The marketplace.
Yeah, you're on Facebook Marketplace. You're on Amazon selling pigeons. Medieval. Who's buying all these pigeons? Who has all this money? It has to be a king.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't the king just make his own pigeons? I don't know. What happens if like a bird flu or something comes in and wipes out your pigeons? And then you owe all these people pigeons because they pay you in advance. And then you're out of all this money. What's going to happen?
Yeah. like the wall of steel example. This Pigeon Dilemma, this sort of apparent abuse of very enterprising players to try to break the economy of the game. You have to answer it properly.
I saw, I don't know how you want to refer to it. There was a video talking about like underrated magical items. And one of the things that the guy talked about was an alchemy jug, which is like this big magical jug that you can uncover and you can pour out water, wine, beer, I think something like mayonnaise, like 2 gallons of mayonnaise. I don't know why you want 2 gallons of mayonnaise, but I don't want to go to that party. And I think some kind of poison. So he was mentioning that if you can do this twice, I think it's once per day, so you do it 2 days in a row and you take out the poison, then you can get a little flask of poison that you can sell in the market for 20. So then it's like this whole idea of, then you sell that one, and then you do 20 more times, and then you buy another alchemy joke, or you have it made. So then you have twice the producing, and you just keep
So you
farming.
invent capitalism and building in series. The question is why?
Do you
What's the
need that
point?
money?
Yeah, what's the point exactly? Do you need the money, or do you just want to win in a way? Because I mean, this could be fun, but it would be a very different game. But yeah, you can make a game of this. Like, yeah, players think the weirdest. We need to make 1 billion gold coins. Use your magical powers to make money. Oh, this makes sense. That's pretty amusing. But in regular Dungeons and Dragons adventuring, does this make sense to you?
No.
No, because
I'd send bandits after him to take down the operations and. Wait. Now you mentioned a druid. Hold on. This just sank on me. Would a druid ethically mass produce animals for slave labor?
An evil druid.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Maybe.
He will have an excuse then when they mistreat the pigeons to go for vengeance against the people who mistreated the pigeons.
So he makes a round. I sell this and then I make my own adventures.
Yeah, which is part of the deal. It could be fun, but don't use it in this sort of absurd thing as a non-fun thing, as a non-fun factor, because I think that having an infinite money glitch is no fun for anybody. Not fun for the player, not fun for the DM. And some DMs would probably not answer, which the absolutely logical manner. The guild of pigeon trainers has overpowered assassins that would go the way of the person that's doing this. That's what inevitably should happen in a campaign. And they would get murdered for trying to
how long can you sell pigeons for 100 gold pieces until you saturate the market and there's no demand and then the price has to drop? I mean, I don't know about economy, but I think something along that lines is going to happen.
Yeah, everybody and their mother would have a pigeon, a messenger pigeon, which, I mean, it could actually be pretty cool. Like,
Happy Mother's Day, here's a pigeon.
It could actually be pretty cool, like a world that has like an equivalent of a telegraph with magical pigeon, messenger pigeons, or not magical, just messenger pigeons that have like this very advanced,
Like a medieval X.com?
Yeah, X.com or Twitter before.
All right.
Yeah, no, at the end of the day, remember our second motto, fun. It has to be fun. If this is part of the fun, go ahead. But otherwise, no.
Dude, I'm getting some dirty looks. Was that the last question?
It is the last question.
All right, I think
we'll be done.
Is it time?
I think we're done for the day, mate.
All right. It's been a blast answering these questions. Subscribe, like, leave a comment, leave more questions. Maybe sometime in the future we'll answer some more.
Please.
Yeah.
So that's been us. That's been Eddie and Eugene.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
And remember to
rage responsibly.
Roll the dice! Bring it!